Hey everyone. Ooh, my goodness. I was out in the sun. Shout out to everybody. I'm a little red in the face. Welcome everybody. It's been a minute. How you guys? Well, no, it hasn't. Maybe the day before yesterday I was live. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Well, hey Deborah, how you doing, love? All right, let me shout out all the members. If you're getting in here, look at this crazy mess of hair. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me see who's in the house. Let me see. I got Liz, Little Boston. How you doing, love? Welcome, Cheeks. How you doing? Neat Noodle. How are you, Gen X? Wim is in the house. Welcome, welcome, Karma. Oh my gosh, Rose with Thorn. How's everybody doing? Hey Annie, welcome. And Marabella, welcome. I see you in the chat. Christy, welcome. And Kate, man. I'm glad you were able to make a live. Yeah, Emily, welcome. Thank you for modding, Emily. Lori, welcome. And Dee Dee, welcome. Yeah, we gotta talk because it's been a lot going on. I'm looking at the other devices while I'm looking this way. So it's been a lot going on with this whole Jody Franke case. We had 2 hearings today. Give them the rabbit punch. I will try, Mace. That's cute though. That's cute. Rose, welcome. Oh, Rose says she's tired, but doing my nails. I miss them long nails. Carrie says, my mind is blown. I was trying to watch the hearing and crashed out. And now I heard the judge said it can't be recorded. Is that why Law and Crime put their stuff on private? Because they were airing it out and then they put it on private. I'm trying to figure that out. Hey Ava, welcome. And Stephanie, Flor, how you doing, love? Crafty Kid, everybody come through. Thank you guys. I'm letting everybody get in here. I'm doing a little bit better. I'm still a little congested. I'm still like doing stuff. Um, yeah, I just had like a really bad sinus infection, and it's taken some time for me to get over it. Yeah, really? So they were live. Law and Crime was like, ooh, here. Law and Crime was doing its thing, right? And I was like, I can't believe they're actually going to let them air out this hearing. Now, the shelter hearing, I understood. I don't think that was public, but we kind of knew what was going on at the shelter hearing because I talked about it earlier. The criminal hearing about the child abuse, that's a whole different issue. So I'm surprised. Really, Lori? But see, I'm telling you, there's always somebody that got to mess it up for everybody. Always somebody that got to mess it up for everybody, right? You were waiting on the live. I was waiting too, and then I was like, this shit is not gonna play because they had like over what 40,000 people waiting in that chat. 40,000. I mean, I saw everybody there. Everybody was waiting for it. And then they shut it down. I'm just saying. Yeah, hashtag the people have questions. All right, we're going to get into it. I did see that. I watched another Law and Crime channel said, got out of the Zoom. They need to ask permission, yo. Honestly, Emily, they need to ask permission. You heard mama yelling? Oh my God. Hey, B Tim. You hope the dad pays too. Listen. So we're going to get into it. And I'm going to give you a bit of a social work perspective because that is my jam. What has happened? And I can give you some perspective of like what my thoughts are in terms of this. I'm a little upset because people have been calling this out for quite some time. And mind you, there are people out there that weaponize the CPS system for their gain. And that's the unfortunate situation. You do have those people that do that out there, especially people that are public figures. But in this situation, this is completely different. This woman publicly said that she was denying certain foods to her kids. She was saying this publicly. A lot of this stuff was playing out publicly, and how people just sat there and ignored it, and not even ignored it, but I it makes me raise my eyebrow towards the CPS agencies that were called around this time. They need to do an internal review of that. Yeah, oh, really? It looked like Chad was on camera briefly, and then people freaked out. So apparently, Law and Crime put their stuff on private because I went in there and I said, "This shit is on private now." They must have taken it down. So Jody Neese spoke out, and I think he spoke out. She spoke out at the Mormon Stories podcast. Shout out to them. I think they also spoke out at Law and Crime as well, because Law and Crime was doing a little thing digging into Jody Hildebrandt, not Hildegrandt, Hildebrandt. And we're going to watch that here in a little bit. Wim just gifted 20 memberships. Thank you, Wim. You are awesome. I feel like I'm like, after doing lives, a lot of lives every day, I feel like, all right, I got to get back into it. But it's been a little bit hard. And I might have a members live later on because I got to talk to my members real quick. But yeah, some of the states seem to be running the religious fractions. Well, thank you, Beach. I'm getting there, love. I'm getting there. Stephanie says, I've watched this family for years. Can't believe it took this long. Hey, Daddy, how are you? Daddy's baby girl. Um, thank you. Yeah, everybody. Wim just gifted 20 memberships. Wim, you are awesome. Thank you. And then B Tim just gifted 5. Damn it. And here I thought we all hated each other. B Tim, you are awesome. Yo, make sure you drop some hearts for Wim and B Tim, even though B Tim doesn't like the hearts. But drop some hearts for B Tim if you were gifted. And I see a lot of people were gifted. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. I've been working my tail off with these uploads. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. And we're going to get into some of the things that people have been saying. But Law and Crime did a look into lady over here. And this is why I did some uploads and why I went hard on this lady. It's very simple. As a mental health professional myself and social workers, we're in the field of a lot of things. You know, we know a lot of things because we get into a lot of things. It is a profession that gets into a lot of things. There's different things that you can do in the field of social work. This woman right here should be ashamed of herself. Truly, because she used her position of power to harm the most vulnerable, which are children, right? Kids are the most vulnerable as well. And she knows it too. She does. So to me, I do not feel sorry. I hope she loses her credentials. I hope that she gets locked up and stays there. I really do. I personally, I am not at all a fan of this lady. I'm not. I went back to watch her connection stuff, and I have never met any like I mean I've seen a couple of people like this, but this is the kind of people that give mental health services and mental health professionals a really bad name. Thank you, B Tim. This woman weaponized her profession to destroy families under the guise of making things better, teaching your kids right, all this, and that is why she needs to be locked up. Blank screen, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, we did reach 35K. Shout out to us. We've been working our asses off, and I can cuss because I feel like I can. All right, let me show you guys what Law and Crime did.
Prior to Connections, she worked as a counselor at a drug and alcohol treatment center. Her LinkedIn page calls her a therapist and educator. Hildebrandt received a Master's of Science in Educational Psychology from the University of Utah in 2003. Her bio on her connectionsclassroom.com page says, "My style is compassionate yet direct and clear of what is necessary to fully change and champion any addictive or self-destructive behavior, whether it be ravenous addictions, feelings of worthlessness or inadequacy."
Did I just cough in the mic? I'm so sorry if I did. I didn't mean to. She needs to lose her license. She should have lost her license before. This is what gets to me, and this is why I said what I said about Kevin, because I personally, Kevin and all these adults around them, Bonnie put out a video about her sister's arrest. And then she deleted the video. She acts like the internet doesn't screen record. Everybody screens records nowadays. We all screen record. We do. We do. Yes. This is perfect. Base shame therapy. Oh my goodness. Base shame therapy. Thank you, Wim. Thank you. Thank you. You saw her niece speak out and blew my mind. Jody's completely crazy, and I believe the duct tape was her idea after hearing it was used on Jesse. But here's the deal, guys. Like, I go back to that video where Kevin and Ruby were sitting in the car, and I was thinking about this too, because I was thinking back to the days where I worked in residential treatment, and they were talking about how their son, they put him on this wilderness program, right? And how they took the bed and yada yada yada, that they got into it. I did a video today, and I said, I don't know about Utah. I'm pretty sure that there isn't a law, at least in the state that I'm in. There is no law that says that your child has to have a bed. If you guys have a law in your state that says your child has to have a mattress to sleep on, let me know in the chat, because I would be curious to know. There is no law, right? So then what do? Like, what is what's the line between punishment, privileges taken away versus something that is actually needed? Let's just say that the child that went to the wilderness camp actually needed a mattress because he had, I don't know, like back issues. Say that he had some type of genetic situation where if he doesn't sleep on a mattress, it could prevent him from growing or thriving in life. That would be child abuse. That would be child abuse. If you are taking something that is like a life and death situation for this, or something away from him or her, where it could enhance something in their life, that is child abuse. Versus taking a mattress to take a mattress. Now, 7 months without a mattress, when your other children have mattresses as a form of punishment, that could also be an argument of like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? This lady filmed the most vulnerable time with her kids. Her kids was, I think there was a video out there of the little girl. I think she got like a fish hook stuck on her finger. And I could hear her crying. Have y'all ever gotten a fish hook stuck on your finger or in your skin? That shit is so painful. Have you ever touched a rose with its thorns thinking that you're not going to get poked? That shit is so painful. And what do? They went and they grabbed the camera and they say, we're recording this. And then Kevin wants to get up here with his attorney, and the attorney wants to say, we are concerned about, we're trying to, it's about the kids now. It wasn't about the kids 5 years ago. Y'all monetized their shit, right? You monetize all of them on YouTube, introduce them to everybody, and allow people to pick apart their most vulnerable time. And then you partnered yourself with this masochist right here, and I said it, and decided we are going to do experimental treatment and do what we got to do in the name of parenting coaching influencer slash mommy influencer. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you this, it makes me wonder not just about Jody or Kevin, it makes me wonder about everybody in the family, because if they were okay with it then, why is it a problem? Why is it child abuse now? Oh, because they got charged. That's why. They went too far. They got charged. They had duct tape. Remember, Jody says she doesn't believe in a victim mentality. We played that clip before. She doesn't believe in that. She doesn't think that victims are victims, right? You can't be bothered by feeling some type of a connection with your child, because in their idea and their theoretical framework, they believe that kids are supposed to be self-sufficient at the age of 3. So much so that Ruby, at the hearing where she's supposed to see a judge about the custody of her kids, and that's what you call a shelter hearing. Typically, if the state has custody of your kids, it's called either an emergency hearing, a shelter hearing, depending on the state. What does she do when she gets up there? She says that her 3-year-old had been watching pornography, and ever since then, that child had been perpetrating all kinds of people. And I had so many questions after that. I said, wait a minute. What is pornography in the Franke household? Is a Victoria's Secret catalog pornography? What is pornography nowadays? Let's just be, and it's interesting because, in my mind, I have a definition of what pornography is. But to say that in an open court hearing, that the reason why or what your concerns were is that your child had access to the internet at the age of 3. How did they even get there to even say that this child had pornography? What were they looking at? Is showing cleavage pornography? How do they have access? Lord have mercy, how do we even get to that website nowadays? I'm saying, I am confusional about what they constitute as porn. Where we leave right now, the way society is living, what is pornography? Back when I was younger, I think if there was a Victoria's Secret catalog, you would probably think that that would be pornography. I mean, it just depends on the era and the parenting techniques and everything. But a 3-year-old with pornography, and why, and what made you think? And you imagine, then it said that her child then confessed to perpetrating on 20 plus people that included neighbors, siblings, perpetrating. That the child confessed. What kind of what society are we, like, what? How does a child confess that they perpetrated? How do they say, "Mom, I've been touching these 20 people that consist of my siblings and my neighbors"? How does that work? And then your reaction is to talk about that at a shelter hearing. And then you tell the judge, "Don't place my kid with other kids." Why does a strict Mormon family have it in their home? Her hubby, right? To me, it's a nudie magazine, Hustler, Maximum. How did they have access to it? And then nothing to back it up. I think they had somebody in the hearing who wanted to support those claims. How are you? What? And this is what upset me about Kevin is, did Kevin stand up and say, did the attorney say, "Hey, Your Honor, no," or anything? No, he allowed his wife to say that the reasons why she abused her kid was because her 3-year-old had been perpetrating. And I don't know if this child is still 3. I think they're like, what, 10 or 12. And her thought process was, restrict the food, because that is a parenting technique for these people. Restrict the food and tie them up with duct tape, because that's the answer, right? That's what I wonder. It's like, how does Kevin not like say something, or say, like, dude, like, do not disclose my child's, even if that's the case. Let's just say that that is the case, that this child actually, who is a 10 or 11 or 12, actually has been touching siblings. Okay, because it does happen. Believe it or not, it does happen. It's very common. Let's just say that that happened. A shelter hearing where they're trying to decide custody of where these kids are going is not the place to disclose that. These are public hearings, number one, but also it's not going to help your child. And now we will forever know what's going on inside their home. And now Mr. Kevin wants to say, well, we're trying not to bash each other. We're trying to keep it, quiet. We're trying to work with each other, with our kids. How? When y'all decided to do your parenting in front of everybody. I don't get it. Let me hit play.
Conflicts in relationships, intimacy problems, communication breakdowns, and frankly, any block that prevents having and creating peace and joy. Here's a clip from Connection's Instagram account from last November. It's Jody Hildebrandt talking about how parents can help their children when they act out.
So many of us.
And I'm trying to figure out, like, and I'm not saying that you don't have to have children to work to give advice about parenting. You don't. And thank you for the $4.99 SW. You're awesome. Thank you. You don't. However, that is one of the challenges as a professional, for somebody to say that they can give advice based off of maybe cases that they've had or textbooks or whatever, versus somebody with lived experience who's had children, who has maybe dealt with the same thing that the parent is dealing with. It hits a little bit different. But this lady has said, and maybe that's part of like detachment. How are you advising families or telling them what to do, or even insinuating that if your child is gay, they got that from TikTok? Like, even that kind of got to me. I said, how the hell? How?
So their parents, it's like, I don't want to have to track them down. I don't want to have to just, like take everything away from them. And it's like, you're not taking things away from them. What you're doing is you've handed them things that they're not managing. And so it's your job to make sure that the first thing they manage is themselves. Like they understand how to manage themselves. They know how to be responsible for themselves. They know how to not blame. They know how to get curious, which means humble. They know how to ask questions.
They know not to not blame. They know how not to, get curious, right? In today's shelter hearing, I think we all heard that Ruby Franke blamed her children for her actions. I love this kind of parenting advice, especially when the people that want to give it haven't really had that within them and their own family. Like how I don't understand how you blame or give a reason as to why you stop feeding your kids, why you withhold food is because of this issue. This lady wants to give advice about parenting. And yet you sitting at a court hearing in orange and black, looking like you're upset, as you should be. I think I would be too, to say. But you can't apply some of this to yourself. Do you think that Ruby and Jody understand what accountability means? I think she needs to take several seats. Several.
They know how to say, that doesn't feel right. Can you help me understand? They know how to do all that. And when you give them activities or you give them opportunities that they engage in where they can't manage themselves, they're only going to become more and more unmanageable inside of these activities.
Hildebrandt also talked last year about what sex should be like between two people who are married.
If we're going to be sexual, that we do it inside the institution, the constructs of a marriage. And not just a marriage, just, I go and I get married, but a marriage between a man and a woman who love God, which means they individually love God. So there's no lust in your marriage. It's I love me, I love God, and so therefore I truly love you, which means...
What happens if those people that are atheists, they don't believe in God? This is why I believe in God, but I don't necessarily apply my beliefs to every situation. One thing I don't do personally, and this is why I don't review a lot of mommy vloggers, because I can. Trust me, I could really do some reviewing, but I don't, because I don't want it to teeter into any type of shaming. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Hold up. What's going on? You want more creators to take down family vloggers. Beavers Unit, why? Why do you feel like creators need to take down family vloggers?
I will never take from you. I will never use you to make me feel better.
Jody Hildebrandt claims to have counseled thousands of people over the years. She says she's counseled families of all ages with her unique style of educating about the power of choice and the need for impeccable honesty. A 6-week individual leadership training goes for $795 on her website. Company training costs nearly $15,000. Hildebrandt and Franke appear to be business partners. The Contact Us page on the Connections website lists Ruby Franke as the contact. Photos on the website show the two together. Ruby Franke is listed as a certified...
And I'm trying to understand that relationship. Is it just I'm going to tell you. All right. I said, is that really just a friendship? She really made her husband move out of the house. And then this lady is she's constantly leaving her kids to go see this lady. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I have some type of feeling about that situation. It's something just doesn't seem right. Why isn't your husband, who you've decided not to divorce quite yet, why isn't he there? Why isn't he parenting? I'm just saying. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Yeah, she's not honest with herself. Right. You say they love each other? Listen. Something's not right. I shouldn't, even the fact that this is why I say, Kevin cannot plead I didn't know in any of this situation. Either either there was some type of visitation agreement, and I said it before. There's only two things that here at play. Either the kids did not feel like they could talk to Kevin about what is going on when they were seeing Kevin during visitation. That's one. Or they didn't talk to Kevin because he either would ignore the allegation or they normalize duct tape and not eating in this household. And if that is the case, then Kevin, along with Bonnie, along with all the adults that supposedly cared about these kids, are not safe and are not trusted adults. That's how I see it. Because either you knew, you had contact with your kids, were there any markings? Any injuries, any unexplained things that you were like, let me talk to my son or my daughter? What is going on? Any one-to-one moments that you could have had with your kid and had that without Ruby or Jody being around? And if they didn't open up to you, you have to ask yourself why. Why didn't they make an outcry? Because they're verbal children. They're able to speak. So either they didn't feel safe enough to talk to you, to tell you what was going on. There was no trust. Therefore, what makes me think that he would even be ready to watch the kids? What makes me think that he is also not willing to co-sign this type of discipline, which he has in the past? It makes you wonder. These are not safe adults. They were never safe. It wasn't about the children. It was about the children when they exploited the children. It was about the blog when they had them there, when they were monetizing it. It stopped being about the children at some point. Just saying. Ghostery. Jody Hildebrandt is likely wanting to save Ruby Franke from a man. Wanted to be Frank's girl. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. I don't know. All right, let me hit play on this. All right, let me know your thoughts in the comments.
We want to get back now to our top story. Tomorrow, a Utah YouTube blogger and her business partner will be in a courtroom for the very first time. The women are both facing abuse charges.
Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrandt have their initial appearance in Washington County after the two were arrested just last week. New at 10, 2 News obtained a 911 phone call from a dispatch center in Washington County. KUTV's Amanda
This is just incredible.
What was on that call, Amanda?
Yeah, guys, about a week ago, a neighbor in Ivins called 911 after a boy showed up at his house. Reports say that the 12-year-old was malnourished and had wounds and claimed to be Ruby Franke's child. A warning, some of what you're about to hear is difficult to listen to.
A 12-year-old male showed up with tape around his legs Thursday asking for help, said he was afraid asking for police.
That's
oh my
scary
God.
Traffic minutes after a neighbor in Ivins, Utah called 911 around 10:50 in the morning.
Boys show up here at my front door asking for help. And he's said he just came from a neighbor's house, and we know there's been problems at this neighbor's house.
Look what the neighbor said. And we know that there's been problems at this neighbor house. This boy just came in here. We know that there's been problems in this neighbor house. For those that were in my comments talking about Rabbit, it wasn't Kevin. Kevin didn't, he would have never co-signed this. Bonnie would have never co-signed this. They could have. I know them because I follow them for X amount of years. I know they would have never co-signed this. And I sit here and I said, yo, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. It is. And they put up a statement to save face. I'm going to say it again. I feel like they're all responsible. Deleting videos that essentially she made a statement. Bonnie did. She said, I'm going to delete this video. I don't want everybody watching. Nah, these people are saving face. I don't think it's right to put kids on that YouTube to that extent. Just my opinion. Every adult is responsible. And I asked you guys in one of the videos, I said, I didn't ask you. I told you guys, it reminds me of the Gabriel Hernandez case. How many of you guys know about the Gabriel Hernandez case? Let me know. Gabriel Hernandez, out of California. The people that were supposed to love this little boy were the ones that killed him. His mother, his stepfather, abuse for many, many years. And then at one point, he had the chance. He went and lived with some uncles that loved him. And then he came back to his mother's. He died. But you know what the craziest part of that story, that situation, that real case, is that the community saw the abuse, the teachers saw the abuse, everybody saw the abuse, and everybody ignored it. So you tell me why this is the same. Why would it be any different? The only difference here, I would say, if anything, was that the community actually stepped up and had been saying, these kids are being abused. In the Gabriel Hernandez case, they knew the abuse was happening. Everybody failed him. Everybody. Netflix did a whole docuseries on him. From the perspective, they locked this kid in boxes. They made him wear dress. They were doing all kinds of things. This poor boy who loved his mother so much. And that's the problem here is these kids that love their parents so much don't want medical treatment. They don't want medical treatment. They are not victims. They don't see themselves as victims because they're busy trying to protect the perpetrator. It's sickening.
He's emaciated. He's got tape around his legs. He's hungry and he's thirsty.
This man who we're keeping anonymous is referring to one of Ruby Franke's sons.
He says what's happened to him is his fault.
Reports say Franke's son escaped Jody Hildebrandt's house and ran about a block to this neighbor.
How did you get out of the house? He says you just left through the porch at the neighbor's house.
The neighbor clearly moved to tears.
Oh my God.
This kid has obviously been, I think he's been detained. He's obviously covered in wounds.
Once officers arrived,
this
is what they discovered inside Hildebrandt's home.
There's a panic room inside the garage.
There's a panic room inside the garage. Lord have mercy. Now, why would we need a panic room? You imagine like the trauma. Yes, Gabriel Hernandez was reported by CPS and CPS failed him. And this is why those supervisors and caseworkers and social workers were charged around that time because of that. That case was a huge case. It was a huge case. So leave it up to the neighbors, to figure this out. They had a panic room in the garage. Why do people have panic rooms? Y'all tell me. Cadillac, thank you so much for the $50 super chat, love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Why do people have panic rooms? Let me know. Let me see what you guys are saying. What you guys are saying. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Because you're paranoid? Well, why do we have panic rooms? I thought panic rooms were like in movies. I was like, a panic room? Like, how is that any different than your basement or your attic? I'm asking, really. I don't have a panic room. You only need a panic room if the parenting is driving you madness, says Erica. Do you have food in your panic room because these kids were being denied food? Cadillac, again, thank you, love, for the $50. They aren't soundproof? Look at the Fort Knox doors. That is what it is? Hold up, y'all. Fort Knox doors. Yeah, but I get that. But what are they for? Like, why would you? Is it safe? What is a panic room? They are vault doors. All right. So what? All right. Cool. Why would you need a panic room? Why would these kids be in a panic room? Help me understand. Let me tell you this. I worked in residential treatment center in a couple. And it's specifically in the children's one, you have a quiet room. Call it quiet room. And when a child was unsafe, say that they're breaking doors, tearing shit up in the milieu, doing crazy shit, whatever. I'm just giving you guys different ideas, or having some type of a break, or maybe they feel like, you know what, I don't feel safe in my room, I need to go somewhere else. You would have a quiet room, and the quiet room, all they have is a floor mattress and a blanket, and then the worker would still have to make checks in the room. There's a window, like a little one, but there's no open windows or anything like that. And the walls are like cement walls. You would check on that child along with the other kids. That to me would be like, oh, like it wasn't called a panic room. It was called a quiet room because it's more of I think a quiet room is more therapeutic. But a panic room is for what though? Yeah. I'm saying, why a panic room for what?
Hildebrandt's home.
There's a panic room inside the garage. Downstairs underneath the garage.
There's a panic room in the garage, downstairs underneath the garage. And you know what I think? I'm just going to say allegedly here. I wouldn't be surprised that Jody, who has worked in treatment centers, this is a common thing. A quiet room or a panic room is something that you would have there. So to me, it wouldn't surprise me that if this lady tried to copy what she is seeing there. That's what it sounds like to me. A quiet room is like, yes, thank you, love. It's my facility calls it seclusion. They're like seclusion rooms. But I've never heard it call a panic room unless like you're going in there because there's something to panic about. Typically, it's seclusion, it's quiet rooms. It's meant to be a place where you just disconnect. But the problem with that is that, especially with children, is you gotta be careful. And typically you find them in bigger institutions. You don't just find them in somebody's home. So did she do like a makeshift type of panic room, type of quiet room, seclusion room? Like that doesn't make sense to me. Where did she get this idea from if it wasn't for Jody? That's see, a panic room is a safe place to hide where someone can't hurt you until authorities arrive. See, that's what I'm saying. So her Fort Knox doors was the lock was on the outside. Gotcha. So she used that to lock kids, and I've seen those before where you can lock somebody. But the problem is you're not supposed to use those in a therapeutic setting. You don't use those for punishment. You use those for therapeutic purposes, for seclusion purposes, for safety purposes sometimes, but not to lock or punish. So how did she get the idea of this if it wasn't for Jody, who formerly worked in a couple of centers? See, that's what made me raise my eyebrow when I heard that. I said, "No, I got to talk to my people about this because I'm sure that everybody's going to connect to this." You wouldn't have known. You think, okay, Emily says police might have called it a panic room, but that isn't what it really was. I don't know.
Yeah, some of that audio you just heard is when law enforcement appeared to be trying to find some of the boys' siblings. I do plan on attending the YouTube vlogger's initial appearance tomorrow. We will have full coverage tomorrow night. Amanda Gilbert, KUTV 2 News.
All right. Let me show you guys something real quick.
I won't trust myself. And
the dramatics out of this lady, I cannot, I'm sorry. The fact that she used her, give me one sec, y'all. She used her position of trust and power to do what she did to harm these kids is just like, wow. Like, wow. Let's go to dailymail.com. Exclusive YouTube mom Ruby Franke appears in court and turns on her children, making outrageous claims about their behavior and accusing them of sexual abuse. Like I said, because that's the place to do it, right? Ruby was charged with 6 counts of felony child abuse after one of her sons was discovered with open wounds and duct tape on their limbs. The mother of 6 appeared in juvenile court Thursday via video call from jail for a shelter hearing for her 4 minor children. Franke made astonishing claims during the hearing. One of her minor children sexually abused one of their siblings. What does that say? For those that did follow, and you know what? It happens. But if you followed and you understood and you connected with this type of teaching, if the sexual abuse was happening, then it was a secret that they were keeping too. And I wouldn't be surprised if everyone was keeping that secret. Kevin, Bonnie, everybody, the siblings. What happens? Like, what do you do in situations like this? Like, are you supposed to speak out against your parents? What do you do? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You allowed your wife to disclose that and basically shame your son, traumatize him. These kids, I hope they assign some guardian ad litems for all these kids, because these kids need an attorney for each and every one of them while the state still has custody of them. They do. They do. They're going to need a lot of services and a lot of therapy. They will. They will. No, Christy, that's a great question. And let me ask everybody this. Devil's advocate, I love that you asked this question. Let's say Ruby's telling the truth. Still doesn't justify, or at least a statement that you made, still doesn't justify what she did to those kids. Exactly. Exactly. Abuse, no abuse. You don't withhold food. And you would think that if you're working alongside with the therapist, Jody, with connections, that she would have advised you what to do next, because that's what friends do, right? To me, this is just another case where CPS knew a lot of these calls and they didn't do anything. Another failure. That's how I see it. So, mother of 6, Ruby, sobbed in court as she appeared for a shelter hearing for her 4 minor children to determine custody. Speaking to the public courtroom Thursday, the Mormon mom at times broke down as she made shocking claims that one of her minor children sexually abused their siblings and molested several other family members and children in the neighborhood over years. The popular YouTuber was arrested along with her business partner, Jody, last month and charged with 6 counts of felony child abuse after one of her sons was discovered with open wounds and duct tape. Ay, 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 ay. And there's the dad, right? I cannot. He got up here and he said, I love my children. Do you? Do you? Do you? I cannot. Right. No, Jamie, the tears were not for her. The tears were for her, because if she stopped feeding her kids and duct taped them, then maybe he would stop perpetrating. She turned it on. She's the victim. Right? The fact that her son was watching pornography at the age of 3, she's the victim. What the hell? What is everybody thinking? And here it goes. Here he is. No comment, guys. No comment. Lord have mercy, I can't do the commercials. No comment. Can't give a comment. Wants to not make the situation worse, not exploit these kids, but doesn't want to give a lot of answers as to what happened, right? That's what this was.
The allegation, sir?
No
comment.
No comment.
Sort of shocking allegations, though.
Not one tear from this man. The man who said that he loved his children. Not one tear. Not one word. Right? Exactly, Flor. Exactly. She is the victim. Ruby is the victim. Jody is the victim. These kids. Kevin is another victim. Right? And please know I'm being sarcastic when I say this. Please note, I am being sarcastic when I say that. So the court hearing, presided over by Judge something I can't say his name, lasted 30 minutes inside and was Franke's husband, Kevin, with his attorney, Randy. At another table were the state attorneys and what happened to be Franke's two oldest daughters, appearing to be accompanied by an attorney as well. Okay. Seeking to pin the blame for her behavior on her children. Franke went into horrific details about how one of her 6 kids abused other children. Damn. It was her kids' fault. Interesting, Thomas. I didn't know that. They were in Jody's care and parents leave their kids with Jody for therapy. Wow. They were not in their own home, says Thomas. Okay, Thomas, you don't need to use all caps, love. I got it. It's systematic abuse. Lori Vallows vibes. So she claimed that one of the Franke's kids began looking at pornography at just 3 years old. Like I said, what is pornography in the Franke household? Was it a Victoria's Secret catalog? Playboy magazine? What is pornography in the Franke household? Just saying. Just asking. What is porno in this household? In one of the most shocking claims, Franke said that her children had been sexually abusing yes, 5. Sorry, guys. In one of the most shocking claims, Franke said that her child had been sexually abusing a younger sibling for years, adding that eventually the two of them began to abuse other children. So what did she do to address that? Did she take it to Connects, Jody's consultation? What did she do to address that behavior? What did she do to address it? And the fact that you're working for Jody, right? You're one of her staff members, that would be a conflict of interest as well. Any therapeutic professional would have told you that. And that's where Jody is trash for that. She really is. You're not supposed to do that. I cannot be the therapist of my best friend and then also hire my best friend to work for me while I'm hanging out with my best friend, also discussing and treating your family issues. That is a conflict of interest. It is. So if that's the step that this woman took, that's no. And Jody should have known that. Why her license wasn't revoked before this, I think it was at one point, but why it wasn't just taken is beyond me. Her career is now destroyed. A complete conflict of interest. You cannot employ somebody and then provide them services or any type of advice to her family. You cannot be hanging out and going to St. George or anywhere in the Utah state to go visit and hang out and provide her like anything. You cannot do that. That is a conflict of interest. She's either your client or her children are your clients or they're not. You have to be able to set that apart. You can't do that. Yeah. Oh, Jamie, and trust me, Jamie, I've dealt with it all when it came to this. Yeah, this would have been a big no-no. Big no-no. So in one of the most shocking claims, she says that her child began they began abusing each other. She also claimed her 2 children played a patting game with each other, but did not go into further details. Well, damn, you already put this out there. Now she's not going into further details. Franke said that in May, her child confessed to sexually abusing 20 people, including cousins and neighbors. So, what the hell does that mean? What does it mean to confess? For a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old to confess that she or he, I think it's he in this case, sexually abuse neighbors and siblings. What does that mean? This is like Duggar's vibe, right? It's like the Duggars all over again. At a YouTube scale. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. She provided no proof for her sickening allegations. The court went eerily silent after Ruby made the disturbing claims, and nobody stopped her. Kevin didn't get up and say, you know what? He didn't even get Randy the attorney up like, Randy, can you please stop my wife from saying this? Like, what the hell? This is a shelter hearing. It's not just for one parent. It's for both. They both have custody of these kids. They're not, okay. Even though Ruby is the aggressor, the perpetrator in this, Kevin has custody of these kids. Even though they were separated, Kevin has not lost custody of these kids. Just because one parent decides to move out of the house doesn't mean that y'all don't have custody of these kids. So Kevin could have jumped up and said, Your Honor, please, this is not what I want. There needs to be a therapist here. There needs to be somebody here when they're disclosing this, because you guys really took it to the max on this one. Marsha, that's what I want to know. What kind of questioning happened that this child had to confess that 20 people were sexually abused by him? How? Do we have 20 people saying this too? Wow. So the judge luckily said that these allegations will need to be placed in hold up. The judge then said that her alleged abusive child will then need to be placed in a home with no other children. I think they meant to say the judge then said, wow, this is just too much. So Frankie's husband shows up, and I'm like, why the hell are you there if you're not even going to say any, like, you're just trash. He's trash. All these people are trash. It is. Exactly. Aaron, you know what? I am learning every day more about that institution, because I just cannot believe that this has happened. And it's like, we don't want to touch it. We don't want to say anything. It didn't happen this way. I'm just saying. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go because I got to go tend to baby Bunny. But let me know your thoughts in the comments as we continue to cover this whole situation. I think the kids are in the custody of the state, so they might be in like a foster home or a group home or something. I don't think they're with family. At least I haven't heard that. And if they are, I really do. They hope they do some assessments before they release them. Right, Mama? Okay. All right, guys. I will see you guys on the next one. I got to head out because I got to go tend to baby Bunny, but rabbits out.